I am Erin Patten, metaphysical master in a millennial age, and it is my life's purpose to guide you and organizations along an enlightened path. So I invite you to sit comfortably and tune in as I welcome you to the Meta Business Millennial, where we get the real conversations you won't get in the boardroom so that we understand this is exactly the path we need to be on in order to grow, evolve, and thrive. Greetings. I am Erin Patten. Welcome to the Meta Business Millennial Podcast. It's Meta Monday, and I'm so happy to have you joining me here today on this beautiful day, beautiful start to the week. And if you haven't already, I highly encourage you to subscribe to my channel. If you really feel called by the content of this, share this channel that I have today. Definitely share this with a friend, like this video, comment. I love to hear from you guys, and I love to hear what you have to say about what's going on in your world, your work life, your personal life, and your family life, and all things that really resonate with you in this day and time. Because the Meta Business Millennial is all about business, but business is life and life is business. Okay, that's really how I see it. It's all the things. And today, I'm really inspired to talk about leadership from a place of authenticity. So, as you may or may not know, the Meta Business World, the company I founded and am the chief enlightened officer of, we are and specialize in leadership advisory. And we work with leaders of large companies, medium-sized companies, startups who are really trying to grow their businesses to the next level. And they are in industries that are leading edge and are transitioning. So they really need support in really tackling these challenges in their businesses that then spill over into their lives with the best tools, the best guidance. And essentially, that's a lot of where these messages come from for the podcast is my own personal experience in leadership roles, and then also advising others through various different scenarios that really challenge their leadership and encourage them, inspire them to step up, not only for themselves, but for the people around them, for their families. And essentially, that's what leadership is. So I just had to start with that kind of grounding, that foundational aspect. So you really know where I'm coming from in terms of what I'm talking about in leadership. And today I really am again inspired to talk about leadership from the perspective of being authentic, leading with authenticity, understanding what it means to be yourself as a leader. And so when we talk about authenticity, I like to also break things down too. Break that down. Being authentic, very simply, is being yourself. And I know a lot of people are always like, be yourself, self-expression, this, that, and that. Yet learning who you are and being yourself literally is a lifelong journey. I don't know how many people understand that piece because I think we all feel like we know ourselves, and we do in this moment. Yet we are constantly evolving creatures. We've seen the gorilla, the monkey, the evolution supposedly theories that we've been taught, and this essentially is a reflection of what every being came to this planet Earth to do, and that's evolve and grow their soul so they can get back to ultimately to God, to source, to the origin of creation. That's essentially what this path in this body is for. And I know that can be controversial, that can be debated, and I'm happy to talk about that too with you in maybe another podcast or offline. Yet these are, in my view, are truths. And as we're coming into this path as human beings, divine beings in human form, we are learning ourselves. We're always questioning, who am I? What do I want? What do I stand for? What do I value? And as we have more experience in life, those things evolve and change too, as they should, because what I desired and wanted out of my life when I was 16 years old is very different than what I want at my age today. and it should evolve at and it will evolve. Let's put it that way. That's an actual fact. It will evolve because your needs as a human being changes. Your surroundings change. Your obligations, your responsibilities, your duties shift. You go from being a child to being an adult. We're always children of God, but on this earth, we actually have to step into a grown folks role. And as leaders, the more we are aware of ourselves, the more opportunity we have to show up more authentically. And the more opportunities we have to show up more authentically, we show up more powerfully. Because in the self actualization process, that actually creates more power in your energetic being. And I'll go back and explain this because I will likely on a lot of my podcasts because there could be new people coming in. And for all those that are, you know, have heard this before, let it be a refresher and a repetition of what you and who you are. And we are three parts. We are physical body, we are emotional body, and we are energetic body. Energetic body could be called your soul, your spirit. And the more we start to tap in to these aspects of our soul essence, which is actually who we really are, then that starts to inform how we feel. And what we feel are our emotions. And how it expresses itself is in our physical body. So the more that we come to live authentically in this power, then that self actualization that I was speaking to earlier is what informs our energy frequency. And I love to reference this, and I don't have the ability to share it with you right now. However, I do have the ability, but I'm just going to speak to it and then I'll share it another time when I have it actually ready, pulled up on my computer. Yet there is this beautiful matrix that I know business minds like you love or analytical minds like you love called the map of consciousness. You can Google it or kind of write it down. And it was created by Dr. David Hawkins. And the map of consciousness is evidence backed, rigorous studies, creation, if you will, of how our energy aligns with our emotions, our view of God, our view of our lives, and the process in which we live. And it's all broken down in a matrix. And as you ascend up the map of consciousness, as you become more and more conscious, then that leads to the highest level, which is enlightenment, which is why I'm always speaking to my vision for the meta business world to empower, inspire 700 enlightened business leaders around the world, because enlightenment is the highest energetic frequency we can accomplish as human beings on this planet. And that energy frequency, it holds a lot. For every enlightened human being, they can touch and influence and shift the energy of 1 million people. 1 million people. Can you imagine that? And so this is why, as an authentic leader, when you're growing in your consciousness, when you're growing in your knowing of self, you are actually growing your energy, your energetic frequency, your ability to touch people, to have more power. And when I say power, I'm not saying it in the sense of what we're used to hearing in power. We're kind of used to hearing power of like, oh, I'm taking over this country. I'm doing this very powerfully. We're generally used to hearing it from a conqueror's mentality, which is like what most of our history books are based in. And that actually is an energetic frequency of force, of pride. So it is actually a lower energetic frequency, which is why you have to continually conquer, which is why you have to continually kill and force and put fear in people's hearts, because that actually is the basis for that energy to sustain itself, the force energy. So when you move into the power frequencies, the power energies, that very simply starts with courage. And when you're moving with this from a space of, yes, I can, a courageous space, then that starts to shift the energetic frequency of yourself, the folks who you're leading, the people in your family also who you're leading, and you're starting to move then from a place of power, which is a very, I would say, pure energetic frequency, if you will, a pure source, a pure motivator. That's what power represents. It comes from a more aligned space and place. So the more you get to know yourself, the more you invest in learning about yourself, and that looks like so many different ways. But one of the first, and what I always began my teaching talking about from 2020 when I started this journey, the metaphysical master journey, is meditation. And there is this very famous, for lack of better words, yogi who literally based his entire practice on going into meditation and asking himself, "Who am I?" For real. And actually, it's a practice that I ascribe to as well. And when I go into meditation or when I go into very deep um, journeys, I always ask myself, "Who am I?" The more I can see myself, the more I can know of myself, the more confident I can be in my being, the more confident I can be in what I'm saying and what I'm articulating and what I'm delivering, the more clear I can do it, the more clearly I can do it. And there's no wobble in who I am and what I deliver and what I do. And that's leadership. When you talk about backbone, you know what I'm saying? When we talk about political leaders and how they're wishy washy or flip floppy, there's no flip floppy in when you know who you are. I mean, you really can't flip on yourself. You're not supposed to, at least. And essentially, this is what moves us to that space of authentic leadership, of leading with authenticity, leading authentically, is when there's a very firm stance in who you are and what you know and what you share and what you believe in. You have boundaries, you have values, and you can easily communicate them and easily share them and stand by them. And that's where that begins, is in knowing who you are. So the first way I talked about was through meditation. Another way is just through life experience. And I talked about this before. It's really easy to know who you are and what you like when you experience what you don't like, what you don't appreciate, where you don't feel respected. And I had a lot of this in my life, especially I feel like my whole life I've had a lot of this, of knowing what I don't want, what I don't like. And the thing about how the universe works is that it gives it to you all the time until you are really categorically like, enough is enough. I'm changing my ways and I'm not dealing with this again. Because the universe only, and the energies around you, the world that you live in, can only vibe with your frequency, with your energy. I mean, we are all magnets. And I talk about this too. And that when I talk about the energy body, it's a magnetic field, force field, your human torus field, your biofield. It attracts your whole everything to you, people, experiences, places that you go to. Everything is attracted to you. I know a lot of you are familiar with the law of attraction, but many people don't understand scientifically that it's because we have a magnetic field. That's our life force. It's larger than our bodies, our physical bodies. It extends beyond who we are physically, actually. And as we start to attract these experiences to ourselves, then we're realizing, okay, I don't like this, or I love this. You know what I'm saying? It could go both ways. And that's when you sort of like place your order to the universe. You know what I'm saying? You're like, oh, ding, I like that. I don't like that. And then it'll keep giving you all of it until you're really just like, your energy shifts, and then you no longer attract that which you don't want. That's what's called a level up. People are like, are you ready to go to the next level? Are you ready to leave all that shit behind? Are you really ready? And universe will test your ass for real. Test you. Are you really ready to leave it behind? And that's also a very, you know, passive way of knowing who you are. It's a practice that will go through our entire lives of experiencing things, good things, bad things. And sometimes in the bad things, we're like, oh, wow, there's something good that I like out of this experience, what I love about myself. I liked how I stood up in that moment. I showed courage in a bad situation. So sometimes the sort of how you can call the delicacy of experiences that we have, even though they can appear bad on the surface, you always derive something good. It's like the pruning process that you're always growing and learning even amidst the thorns. When you're cutting away the thorns, you're cutting away the bad things, you're still growing into this beautiful, flourishing flower. And that's how you can know who you are so that you can lead more authentically and show up more powerfully in your position. And that's essentially the key in business is being able to hold that power position, right? We always talk about power, influence, all those things in business. But if you aren't really aware of what power is, how to cultivate that power, then you're likely going to be moving from a place of force because that's what we've been taught. And that's what these books oftentimes speak to as well. So when we're really wanting to move more authentically in our leadership positions, and why I believe that authenticity is the highest form of leadership is because you are you. And there is no having to compromise on anything. There is no feeling insecure. There is no there are only opportunities for growth, for innovation, for exploration because you're knowing who you are in the process. You know what you like. You know what you see. You know how to get to that next place because it's coming from you. It's not coming from a place of people pleasing. Well, what would my boss want to see? Or what would my customers want to see? And even though you're thinking about these are all inputs in your decision making process, ultimately you have the authority to lead authentically and have whatever decisions come from you. So as you think about the different methodologies and how to get to that leading authentically, the first we talked about, remember, is meditation, knowing who you are by asking who you are. The other way is just through experiences. Like, how do have all these different experiences, good and bad, and know what you like and know what you don't like? And I believe the third way in understanding who you are and trusting in who you are is really working with someone, a professional, whether it be a therapist, whether it be a healer, whether it be someone like me who kind of combines all those things, whether it be the healing, the business strategy, and sort of like the therapy sessions, and really mirroring that for you. And I'm not even gonna like say this is not a shameless plug because this is absolutely necessary, I believe. Having a coach or someone who has had a little bit more experience than you in a certain area, and it can take on so many different forms, is the fastest way to know yourself and get to that authentic leadership. And I can say that I know this to be true because every leader, senior level leader of every organization has some sort of coach or advisor that they go to. And I know oftentimes we're struggling to find mentors or we're struggling to find trusted advisors because, in many ways, we may even have an insecurity about trusting other people and their opinions or even being vulnerable in front of other people. I can't even lie to you. I didn't even go to my first therapy session until I was well, post my Harvard graduate days into my 30s. And obviously, it transformed my life because look at me now. I'm a metaphysical master and I do this for a living. And so I 100% highly recommend you find someone that you trust who can support you in leading and knowing who you are and digging deep into those aspects of yourselves, whether it's me or someone else who you trust, where you can really start to ink out those scenarios, those experiences that really maybe keep you trapped or keep you in a cycle of, wow, I feel like I'm stuck. Like I've reached this pinnacle of my career and my life, but I really am not able to do this. There's other things in my life that I'm really not able to master. Well, there are blind spots in all of our lives, and there are people out there that can open those doorways for us to be able to see them. And that is, like I said, a surefire way to accelerate your path to leading more authentically, to leading more in power, and knowing who you are. A lot of our human experience is determined by our reflection in other people. Like when I was talking about that second piece about your life experiences, those life experiences come from interactions with other people, period. We really aren't able to see ourselves without seeing ourselves either in the mirror, talking to ourselves, or in the reflection of someone else's eyes. That's how we come to know self. And, to speak to that piece about maybe there's insecurity or a hesitation or resistance around being vulnerable in front of other people, that's completely understandable. Even in my more advanced stage of emotional expression, I still have sometimes hesitation around sharing aspects of myself with my very trusted advisors and mentors. And that takes practice and that takes time. Because as I always speak to too in my leadership talks and also my quotes that I put out there, vulnerability is our source of strength. It is our source of strength. The more we can see into those painful aspects of ourselves and then share it with somebody, do you know how powerful that makes you? And I know we often live in this very masculine dominant world of business where vulnerability and sharing yourself can be perceived as weakness. Ugh, God, I'm right where I want him. I can take advantage of that. Yeah, right. How can you take advantage of something that is mine, that I own, that comes from me, that I co created with God? Yeah, maybe they can, poke and prod and make fun, but no one can take advantage of something that's yours, can take from you what's yours. That is your source of power, your strength, your authenticity, your own experiences. And so, as we kind of come to a close, because it looks like my lighting source just can't went out. Let me see what happened here. Um, oh, here we go. All right. This will happen when you go live. All right. We good. We can kind of start wrapping this up. I feel like that was kind of a signal. Like that was a nice little stopping point. That as we move in this like authentic leadership and wanting to lead with more authenticity, like I said, it's very powerful. It enables you to have very firm boundaries, make very strong and solid decisions. And I would venture to say the right ones because it's coming from you. And yes, the right decisions may not always have the biggest results, yet there's always lessons to be gleaned from all of the decisions that we make because we make it with the best information that we have available to ourselves in that moment in time. And this is something that I have to speak over myself all the time because I am Miss Perfectionista. I can't make no wrong decisions, make no mistakes. And that's just not human. That's actually not reality. And even though I'm this divinely incarnated being in a human body, I'm still having this human experience that requires me to make mistakes, to learn lessons, to refine my approach to how I live and breathe and exist on this planet. That's an absolute necessity. It's a requirement, actually. And so, as we're learning to lead with more authenticity, again, I'm going to run by those ways that I believe and I've also practiced that really support me in grounding myself. And that's the meditation piece, coming back to myself and asking myself, who am I? Who the fuck am I in this moment? And that's going to evolve and change and shift every day for the rest of your life. And then the second piece is just your lived experience, allowing yourself to go day by day and having the ins and outs of conversations, the ins and outs of arguments, of beautiful experiences, pleasurable experiences, and knowing what you like and what you don't like, what you want and what you don't want. And the more you're able to weed out those things that you don't like, the things that you don't want, the more you're able to call forth the things that you do want, the things that you do like, the people who you do love, the experiences that you really find pleasurable and juicy and attractive. You can start calling forth those things with very strong and powerful intention. And then all those other aspects of your life that no longer serve you gently fall away. Like I said, the universe is going to keep giving you all these very variety of experiences, and you keep being like, no, yes, 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 and you're able to really start to weed out all those experiences that no longer serve you, so you can call forth the life of your dreams. This is what people talk about when they talk about manifestation. A manifestation in the way that really serves you, your highest good, only can come when you have clarity on who you are. I hope that makes sense. And then the third piece is really tapping in with a professional coach, someone like me or of your choosing that you believe that you really trust, that you can really be vulnerable with, that you can see yourself in, that can teach you something. And that 100% allows you to grow quickly, to know more about who you are, because you can see it through the mirror of someone else, talking it out. And that really supports your authentic leadership. All of these things combined, oh man, talk about acceleration. Again, the more aware we are, the more powerful we are. The more authentic we are, the more powerful we are. The more powerful we are, the more we reach our self-actualization, our level of enlightenment. The higher we are in our consciousness, the more we are able to influence other people with the highest good, with the highest intention. This is the goals for leaders in this day and time. It's not to trample over people. It's not to be the one percenters. It is the 100% planet. This is a 100% future that I'm speaking to right here. Everybody wins. It's a win-win-win scenario for everybody. When we know who we are, when we lead authentically, and we do it with a lot of love for ourselves. And now that feels complete. That feels complete. And, again, I am wanting you all to subscribe to this channel, like this video, share it with friends. This really comes from my heart. Like I said, I'm doing heart driven only content in 2024 to support leaders in organizations, to support leaders in government, to support leaders in nonprofits and companies and families. We're leading nations here, okay? And your family is a little nation, okay? And I want everyone to have this ability to do for themselves, to manage themselves, to love themselves, and to have the life that they've always dreamed of, heaven on earth. That was our promise when we came here, and that promise will be delivered as long as we choose it. As long as we choose it, it's that easy. Okay? Awesome. So if you haven't already, follow me at I am Erin Patten across social media. Also, this podcast, the Meta Business Millennial Podcast, has its own following, social media following. So definitely follow our podcast. And if you're interested in working with the meta business world, if you're interested in working with me, you can always DM me, message me, and or go to my website, www.erinpatten.com, and learn more about my offerings, how I support organizations, how I support leaders, and how we can work one-on-one to help you support you in your authentic leadership journey. Okay, you all. I love you all. This is the end of our podcast. Peace. Did you really love this episode of the Meta Business Millennial Podcast? Well, I am honored, and I appreciate you subscribing, leaving a review, and sharing it with your friends, because your feedback allows us to co-create more enlightened conversations. And if you're interested in growing your soul now, head over to my website, erinpatten.com, to find all the show notes, links, and free resources to get your energy activated today. In the meantime, stay bright, my friends. Much love and light. Peace.